hadn't planned on coming home that weekend. The seminar for my internship got canceled last minute, and with the city suddenly too loud and pointless, I decided to drive back. Home was supposed to mean rest, sleep, laundry, my mother's cooking, simple things. But when I opened the front door that Friday afternoon, it wasn't my mom who greeted me. It was Claire, her best friend since college. She'd always been part of the background, holidays, birthdays, family photos, where she'd stand at the edge, smiling, but never really in the frame. Growing up, I called her Aunt Claire, the stylish one who smelled like sandalwood and citrus, always talking about yoga or her next photography trip. But that day, standing barefoot in leggings and a loose sweater, hair tied up messily, she didn't look peripheral anymore. She looked present. "Oh, hi," she said, setting down a glass of water. "You're early." "Seminar got canceled," I said, dropping my duffel bag. "Didn't expect to see you here." "Your mom flew out this morning. Vancouver conference. I'm house-sitting, feeding the cat, watering the ferns, judging bad TV shows." I laughed. "Guess I missed the memo." She smiled. "Old room's still yours. Nothing's changed." Upstairs, everything looked the same. The posters, the baseball cap, the tiny scratch on the dresser. But it felt different. The air warmer, the silence softer. Downstairs, Claire moved through the house like she belonged there, humming quietly to herself. That night, she cooked pasta with herbs from the backyard. Garlic lingered long after dinner. We ate at the kitchen island with low music playing from her phone. It felt more like roommates than guests. Two people sharing quiet rather than filling it. She asked about school, my final year, if I was seeing anyone. I asked about her job, her last trip to Oregon, her new camera. At one point, pouring wine, she said, "I still remember you as that quiet teenager who never looked up from his books." I smiled. "Still barely do." "Maybe," she said, "but you're taller now, broader, less boy." Her words hung there longer than the laughter that followed. I looked away, tried to hide a small, restless pulse under my ribs. Later, she curled up in the armchair with tea while I sprawled across the couch. The room was still except for the ticking clock and the flicker of candlelight. I caught myself watching her. The way the light touched her hair, how her sweater slipped from one shoulder, how easily she looked like she belonged here. She must have felt it, because her eyes met mine for half a second. Neither of us said anything. I went to bed late, staring at the ceiling fan spinning slow circles, trying to convince myself it was nothing. Just nostalgia, just memory. But when I finally closed my eyes, all I could hear was her voice saying "less boy." And for some reason, it didn't sound like a joke anymore. Morning sunlight filled the hallway when I walked into the kitchen. Claire was already there, pouring hot water into a mug, hair still damp from a shower, wearing soft joggers and a light sweater. She looked over her shoulder and smiled, like nothing about the night before lingered. "Sleep okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I lied. I'd spent half the night wide awake. We drank coffee side by side in silence. She moved easily through the space, slicing fruit, opening cabinets, humming to herself. It was disarming how natural it felt, like she had lived here all along. She reached up for something on the top shelf, stretching, and the hem of her sweater lifted slightly. I looked before I could stop myself. She caught it, not with words, but with a faint smirk. "You always this quiet in the morning?" "Depends," I said. "You always this awake before 9? 3 cups already," she said, grinning. We ate breakfast out on the deck. The air was warm and slow, the kind of stillness that made every sound sharper. The rustle of trees, the clink of her spoon, the soft rhythm of her breathing. I kept stealing glances, trying to see her like I always had. But every time I looked, something shifted. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear, the way sunlight caught the edge of her collarbone. It all felt too alive, too new. By late morning, she asked if I could help clean the garage. I said yes before she finished the sentence, anything to keep my hands busy. She tied her hair up, threw on sneakers, and led the way outside. The air was thick, dust swirling through the open door as we started sorting boxes. Old tools, forgotten holiday decorations, pieces of my childhood mixed with my mom's old habits. Claire laughed at everything. The cracked photo frames, the ridiculous sweaters, the half-deflated basketballs. "Your mom's a hoarder," she said, wiping sweat from her forehead. "She calls it sentimental," I replied. "She'd call an avalanche of boxes sentimental too," she teased. The work was easy, but the silence between words wasn't. Every time she bent to pick something up, every time her sleeve brushed my arm, my brain short-circuited. She noticed. "You okay?" she asked once, her eyes holding mine too long. "Yeah," I said quickly, just thinking. "Dangerous habit," she murmured. Later, I climbed the stepladder to reach a basket high up on the shelf. Claire steadied it with both hands, her voice soft below me. "Good balance," she said. "Or maybe you just like the view." I glanced down. She was looking up, not just at me, but through me. The air between us went still. When I stepped down, I misjudged the last rung and slipped. She caught me. Quick, steady hands on my arms. For a moment, we stayed that way, bodies too close, breath too real. Then she exhaled slowly, letting go. "Careful," she said, voice quieter now. That would have been embarrassing. It should have ended there, but it didn't. Because when she smiled again, it wasn't just kind, it was knowing. We took a break after that. The heat in the garage was heavy, clinging to our skin. Claire fanned herself with a piece of cardboard, laughing. "I need water," she said, heading toward the house. I followed, still feeling the ghost of her hands on my arms. Inside, the kitchen was cool and dim. She filled 2 glasses from the filter, handed me one, and without a word, lifted her sweater over her head. It wasn't slow or deliberate, just practical, but the sight froze me in place. Beneath, a simple tank top clung lightly to her skin, damp from the heat. The gesture was innocent. The silence wasn't. She caught me watching and smiled. "Is that better?" Her tone was teasing, but her eyes didn't move. I opened my mouth to answer, but nothing came. She laughed softly. "Relax, it's just cotton." Then she took her glass and walked away toward the hallway, leaving me standing there, heart hammering, words gone. That night, I stayed in my room for hours pretending to read. Every page blurred into the memory of her standing there, sunlight on her shoulders. Eventually, I gave up and went downstairs for water. She was on the couch under a blanket, hair damp from a shower, watching a movie. She looked over, nodded once. "You don't have to hide up there." I wasn't hiding, I lied. "You're a terrible liar," she said without looking away from the screen. I sat in the armchair across from her. The movie played, quiet and meaningless. Her eyes reflected the light, soft, unreadable. After a while, she said, "I used to wonder what kind of man you'd grow into." I looked at her. "Still figuring that out," I said. She smiled faintly. I can tell. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was thick, full of things neither of us wanted to name. The next morning, she was already in the kitchen, wearing a loose sweatshirt, humming. Nothing about her seemed different, but everything was. "Sleep okay?" she asked. "Eventually," I said. "Too hot in your room?" "Too many thoughts," I replied. She smirked. "Dangerous habit, remember? We had breakfast together, like nothing had changed, except everything had. Every brush of her hand, every shared glance carried a quiet charge. Afterward, she asked me to help in the laundry room. I followed her, pretending it was normal. She reached up to stack towels on the top shelf, standing on her toes. I stepped closer to help, my hand brushing hers as I took the pile. Her back brushed my chest, just for a second, but she didn't move. "Thanks," she said softly, her voice lower now. When she turned, she looked straight at me. "I meant what I said yesterday," she added. "What part?" "That you're not a boy anymore." The words landed between us like a spark in dry air. I didn't speak. I didn't have to. Because when she walked past me, the air carried her scent, lavender and something warmer, and I knew something had already shifted for good.